I often get the impression that there's a distinct lack of listening going on in modern existence. Whether it's married couples, political opponents, different family members, friends, whatever, the pattern of deciding that the ego is more important than the outside world and that the ego should be projected on the outside world and not the other way around is the same. And it's not really any surprise. I mean, you try respectfully listening to someone and see what happens. The other person will just use the opportunity to speak in an extremely ego oriented way 9 times out of 10, talk about themselves, say why their opinions are correct, that sort of thing. Remember the anxiety ego rationality axis. Being silent is obviously feminine. When you sleep, you're passive, silent, close your eyes, and this allows you to explore and sort through the subconscious. That's what dreaming is, basically. While awake, you can think and speak rationally, you can move, all that, and in the wakeful masculine state, you project outward. That's what moving is. You move in order to change the outside world in some way that you want. While in the feminine sleeping state, you expand inward and downward into the subconscious. So far, so simple. So, if the two different egos that are speaking and listening are too distinct from each other, there's no real way for progress to be made. It's essentially like a zero sum war. Every concession you make is just going to lead to the other person gaining more ground, so to speak, and inundating you with words that just frustrate you. This is what's really worth noticing when you're in the moment experiencing this. In some conversations, both people are exhilarated and engaged because they both learned something, meaning they're expanding their egos in a way that's complementary. Both people gain more power over the outside world because they understand it better. That's what understanding the truth means, basically. I mean, just look. If the two people can manage it, the dialogue is about finding a higher truth, while in the other case, it's literally just a tug of war game. Long story short, the two opposite sides have to live in the same world in order to find a common truth. Both have to subordinate their egos to the real world, which is becoming increasingly rare as social fragmentation leads to more and more distinct ego consciousness and ego anxiety. When I say living in the same world, it obviously means many things metaphorically as well, most of which I'm not going to explain because, who cares? If both sides agree on what existence fundamentally is, then they'll see existence in a similar way, obviously. For example, the modern mimetic cloud fundamentally values justice and comfort, while their opponents tend to value a kind of ego projection into the past. This naturally leads to them both having different worldviews because they live in different worlds. The world exists outside of you, obviously, but the world you actually see is the one that's in your mind. You might expect another 2 hour rant about how it's necessary to align the inside world with the outside world now, but hey, I've already done that in like half my videos. Anyway, this is part of why my life's mission is devoted to the snake. A common, fundamental, and maximally accurate understanding of reality and morality, giving way to everything that we need on a feminine level, which is what's most neglected right now: community, belonging, connection, non anxiety, all that. Unless I can manage to gather people who agree on what life even is, this whole process of disintegration will just continue until it reaches its conclusion. Obviously, it doesn't just matter that people agree on it, it also matters that it's actually accurate to reality, but you get the idea. And if you don't know what I mean by all that exactly, just watch my other videos. And also, here's some pretty crazy things I realized while making the slides for this video. It's, the nature of truth, God, existence, all that shit. So just look at that if you're bored or something.